Like that's a pose our Wreckheads.
Listen up, company twat.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking, and thank you for choosing AirWreckRadio. We'd like to apologize in advance if there's any inconvenience caused, but we're going down.
Have you ever noticed when you encounter a cat stare at you and you stare back and you know they're thinking secret feline thoughts? Ever wondered, just like me, what those secret feline thoughts might be? I suspect they were calling lessons that their mamas taught. If I weighed 10 more pounds, I could take you. Weigh 10 more pounds, well, you'd be mine. If I weighed 10 more pounds, well, I'd cut you down to size. Since I don't, I guess I'll run and hide.
Thank you for joining us. It is the 15th day of July in the year 2013. I'm Cory. This guy over here, Stacey, and we want to welcome all of you to episode 10 of AirWreckRadio.
It's so good to be at episode 10.
Does it feel good?
It's like if we were in high school, we'd be almost to summer vacation, right? Like we'd have one whole quarter under our belts, you know? We'd be, yeah, right, it's winter and that kind of sucks. But luckily it's summer now and that doesn't suck, except that it's like, you know, Florida summer in New York, so that sucks a little bit.
Yeah, we have an action-packed, fun-filled adventure of a show planned for you, our dear Wreckheads. But first,
our human Wreckheads. Also, human Wreckheads, pay attention.
I guess they're more important than the dear Wreckheads.
Yeah, the dear Wreckheads never give us a single Facebook like.
Not one.
Not one hoof mark up. They don't have thumbs.
And goddamn do we get off on some Facebook likes. But first, special thanks to our friends, family, and listeners. For without you, none of this would be worthwhile.
That's true. Thanks, guys.
We want to thank Dave and Hoss of Unconquerable Souls Tattoo for joining us last week. Make sure you check them out in person and on Facebook. But super huge love for the boys over at secondprints.com. The next best thing on the net.
Nice. So it's very self-servient, but not even so much. It's very good. It's subtle.
So good, in fact, that we sat in with them for their 18th episode issue entitled AirWrecked. Well, we're going to play a little taste of that later on going into the break, but please check out the whole show at secondprints.com. Also, to all our comic book fans, now you buy all of your comics at First Print Comics.
They got a nice little shop out there. It's nice, quaint, cozy. They will do. This is one of the services that they will offer you. Call in and tell them what issues you want, and then just come and pick them up when you want to come in, when it's convenient for you to be at Buffalo Road.
I'm looking up the number address right now, sir.
You just come and pick up your comic books. They put them in a bag for you and everything. You can, if you got a month worth of comic books that you want to read, but say, like, I don't know the specifics. Say Batman comes out Monday, but fucking Superman comes out Friday, and Uncomparable X-Men comes out on Tuesday the next week. Tell them what comics you want to pick up in a month. Go down there, pick them up.
I've also even heard rumor that they may, if you ask nicely, if you kiss the right butthole, ship you your comics.
Yes, they also will ship you your comics.
They will ship them to you in the mail.
They better charge a shipping fee. They didn't mention that to us, but they better.
If they don't, they're superheroes in their own right.
Yes, they have the superhuman ability to pay for postage.
But please check them out at 1548 Buffalo Road, Gates, New York. This is now where you buy your comics, so do that. And tell them that AirWreckRadio sent you. Later on, we're going to talk civil unrest in Egypt. Eliot Spitzers' sudden reemergence in politics, immigration reform, and then a very special introspective as two of your favorite radio personalities cross-interview each other for the AirWreckRadio interview archives.
You're going to love it. I'll tell you what, if you don't love it, fuck you.
So what's going on, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I had a pretty good weekend. We we went out to the aunt's house and did a little camping there. And
oh, your aunt's house is beautiful. That's a great place to be.
Sure went through a lot of beer, man.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I was like, a 30-pack will be good for the three of us. Wrong. We were there.
We're wrong.
We were there a couple of hours. And
a 30-pack, you can drink that yourself in the day.
Well, yeah, me, yeah. And
so what did you think the girls were going to drink?
They're very little girls. I thought that they would drink less than that or perhaps find some kind of wine cooler. Like they both bought. There was vodka involved. I thought they would.
Oh, okay.
Plus, there was a lot of beer drinking on my part. So, yeah, we got through that first 30-pack. Like, we were getting through it. There was like 8 left. And I was like, so, beer run? Somebody was going on a beer run? Second 30-pack, we came home with like 4 beers.
Wow, nice call.
It was a good night.
What else you do this weekend? Besides hang out at your aunt's beautiful home?
After I got done hanging out at my aunt's beautiful home, I woke up in the morning at my aunt's beautiful home and packed up tent and easy up and all that fun stuff.
Woo, camping.
And still managed to make it over to our friends at Second Print Comics.
At First Print Comics, doing Second Print Comics.
Thank you.
It's a cute gag.
Their comic book store is called First Prints. Their podcast, Second Prints.
With our friends John, Dave, and Mike.
We went over there, and we had a blast with those guys doing their podcast. It was a lot of fun. It was really interesting for us to be, I think, not on the giving end of an interview, but it wasn't even really an interview. They like had us sit in for their whole episode, so we did an episode with them. Trouble is, I don't read comics. Do you read comics?
Yeah, no,
I used
really
to.
did.
I did when I was a kid. I definitely had the whole 4-book Gambit series, and I definitely had the Wolverine series where he lost his adamantium skeleton the first time they ran that gag. It was incredible. It was so cross-book. It was really good.
I never really got into the comic books. It was a different day and age for me.
That was about the time I stopped being in comic books.
When you were at an age where you're supposed to start reading comic books, as a male, or whatever, because they're a good bridge from, just starting early reading into reading. For real. I was a very poor reader. I was a very weak reader.
Were you learning at that time instead? You were perfecting the art of showing your ass crack every time you bend over?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, that's what
Folks
I was
on the radio?
this time.
Thank God you're on the radio.
Yes.
Because it'd be terrible if he was bending over and picking up something. He could be picking up your own money and handing it back to you and it'd be like, I wish you'd have just left that money on the ground, man. It wasn't really worth that.
Thank you so much. No, what happened was I was such a weak reader. My old man got me hooked on phonics. The old gag there.
The gateway drug.
Yeah. Hey, shit worked.
Hooked on phonics led me to heroin.
Hooked on phonics works for me, baby. It sure did. And then at that point, I was so far beyond. I was reading high school level books.
You were reading enough to be able to quote Brahms without actually quoting Brahms.
It's Voltaire.
Whatever.
Brahms is a composer.
Yeah, it's very hard to quote a composer. D minor, C minor, E.
The bit you want to keep rubbing down in my face was Voltaire, the philosopher.
That's how important it is
moron.
to me. Don't even remember his name.
But you still want to rub it in my face.
But if you ever said the quote, I would know what it was.
Now that I have educated you.
So a big ups to our friends over at First and Second Prints. They were a fun time for us, and I really enjoyed being in their comic book shop. I'm going to start reading comics at the end, I think.
I can't wait to have them in on our show because I had a million questions streaming through my head because I wanted to interview them so bad because there was a microphone in front of me.
Yeah, it was hard to not interview them, but it wasn't our show to do that on.
Exactly.
It was.
So we're going to have them in so I can finally ask them the questions that have been buzzing through my head since I've started talking to them.
Oh, the whole show. All I could do was think about questions that I would ask them. We're so accustomed to interviewing.
Yeah, and they're premiering on a radio network called No Agenda Network on TuneIn.com. Fridays at 2, I believe, was the time frame. Please check them out there. And we're going to plug that because we're going to kiss their ass because I want to find out what goes on with that.
All right, well, I have an opinion about TuneIn, but if we're going to kiss ass, I think I'll keep it to myself.
Good idea. Thumbs up.
It's awesome. You're going to love TuneIn.
Love this,
Get it. If you have an Android, get TuneIn. You'll know just what I'm talking about. If you have a computer, I have a computer. I'm going to find out what Cory's talking about. Hopefully, it's good.
No, that sounds like a interesting situation that they've found for themselves. Being the thief that I am, if I could find some way to parlay that into my own benefit, I will.
Absolutely. Let us hear your business plan so that we can steal it.
Exactly.
And see how it works in real life. Because that's what, I think that, this being our 10th episode, it's okay for us to recognize things like we're doing okay at being a podcast. We're
doing okay. We're not doing okay. We're doing friggin' great.
I think we are. I mean, our numbers are terrific for us.
Sure are, buddy.
Especially the ones that we tell people are like really impressive.
Tens of thousands, yes.
Did you know that on Facebook, our reach once exceeded 22,000 people?
Big number.
That's a huge number. I don't know anybody who's ever had that kind of reach, and we had that kind of reach for a week straight, and then it pitfalled, and we don't know what happened. We don't know why it was that high or why it fell back down to its average level.
I know why.
Why?
They're letting us down.
Those jerks.
They're giving in. They're weakening.
You know what?
Their resolve is getting lessened.
I gotta say, fuck Facebook.
You know what? I gotta agree with you. Fuck Facebook as long as they listen to the show.
No,
That's what I really care about.
Not fuck all our Facebook friends. We love our Facebook friends. We love the way that Facebook allows us to free advertise. However, this week I came to realize that I have perhaps reached the end of exploiting my Facebook friends.
So have I.
Who are currently my Facebook friends. And I was like, remember all those Facebook friends that I had fired from being my Facebook friends because I was sick of their stupid posts?
Uh-huh.
I think I'll go get them back.
You miss them, don't you? I asked a lot of people I miss.
I don't miss them at all, unless they're listening right now, in which case I missed you very much. So much. Oh, God, it's so good to have you back. But if they're not listening right now, I didn't miss them one little bit.
Fuck you.
Didn't miss them at all. But I did get to thinking, now that I have something to say, shouldn't I be jamming it equally down their fucking throats? So I sent out a ton of... I went to that Facebook tab that says, people you may know, see more.
I do that from time to time.
And I sent friend requests to all of them.
All of them?
Well, not all of them.
I don't know anybody. I do that from time to time, and I don't know anybody in that list.
I sent Facebook requests to all of them that I could send friend requests to while filling an F-150. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what it takes to fill up an F-150's gas tank, it's about $124.
About 20 minutes of your 25 minutes of your time.
It's not 25 minutes.
Are they still dual tank? Because F-150...
No, single tank. No, nobody's dual tank anymore. God damn, no. No. I mean, except for the big Super Duties, but no. It takes about 10 minutes of maybe it's 7 minutes. But either way, it's standing around time where there's nothing better to do than Facebook. So I Facebook friended everybody I could in that time. I sent many requests to this morning in an attempt to spread the word about AirWreckRadio, my talk show. Accept the friend request or don't. I'm not some creepy stalker and I won't blow up your page. But you may see updates about the show from time to time.
First off, you are lying sick of shit. Not only are you creepy, okay, you're not a stalker, but you are creepy. I beg to differ.
How am I creepy?
I'm looking at you right now, sir. Clearly, you're creepy.
I am not. That's not true.
Uh-huh.
Anybody who's seen my face knows that I'm dreamy. You're mistaking your consonants.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, creep. Also, I will blow your shit up. I don't know what you're talking about. I fucking share AirWreckRadio 1,000 times a day.
How many vacuum salesmen while going door to door in the 50s got their foot in the door by being like, I'm not really here to sell you anything, they're just making me do it. And then once he's got his foot in the door, he comes in, he's like, this is the best goddamn vacuum cleaner. You got some apple juice, we're going to spill it. We're going to spill it on some grape juice, and then we'll vacuum it right away. You lie to get your foot in the door. And I wanted, I just wanted to be clear that I'm not some fucking creeper on Facebook. totally not like trolling for chicks here. I'm
no.
trolling for listeners. It's different.
And it just so happens that the ladies love AirWreckRadio.
They do. It's in our demographic. So I was like, I'll just be polite and cordial. Facebook threatened to fucking block me because
you're a spammer. You were spamming. You were spamming.
They said to me, no, I wasn't. They told me these are people I might know. Maybe I was trying to make reconnections. Wasn't I? At the root of things, isn't that what I was doing?
The problem is that you mentioned in the show. I mean, good for you. I'm happy that you mentioned the show. The problem is, though, for that argument, is that you mentioned the show.
Nope, I think this bitch is an uppity twat. Everybody listen up.
Uppity twat?
We got a tag. What did you say?
I just called her an uppity twat. The same thing you just did.
That's what you said, company twat, because I said listen up. Like that's a pose our rec heads. Like at ease.
Listen up, company twat. That's what we call our listeners from now on. That's the rec heads. They're the company twats. Get her.
Although we will probably get no results whatsoever.
Well, nothing else we ever do does anyways, except for this show. Because the only thing that ever gets results is AirWreckRadio.
Thank God for AirWreckRadio. Also thank me and thank Cory.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much God had to do with it, but I'm sure he had some part.
Well, he put us here.
Whatever God
years
you believe
ago.
in. 9,000?
3.
No, not even the Catholics
you haven't read
say
your Bible
3.
too much.
Not even the Catholics say 3. It's 9.
The Catholics aren't the insane ones.
I beg to differ. You say that with confidence,
I
in
did.
fact.
I saw you even had to question it.
I had to stop for a second because I was flabbergasted.
So,
I beg to differ.
Did you know that a human working out, this is a fun fact just for everybody who wants to know what's going on right now, and filling dead space with a fun fact.
Fun facts.
A human working out.
I now have new production. Fun facts.
A human working out burns as many watts as an elephant standing still. You're welcome.
Wow. That's size difference, boy.
Welcome to episode 10 of AirWreck Radio. It's going to be great. Until it is, I think it might be time we hit up some simple thoughts. Cory, you can see the board that's behind me. Give me a simple thought.
MMA in New York.
Oh, my God.
Technically, it is legal for amateur fighters to participate in mixed martial arts competitions, but it is not legal for paid professionals to participate in mixed martial arts competitions in the state of New York, and is the only state in the union that it is illegal for mixed martial arts.
Yeah, the only state in the union.
Only state in the union.
Thanks, New York. Papa Bear, you're doing a good job of keeping us all safe from seeing the mighty boxers kick the shit out of each other with their feet and hands.
Like, for real this time.
God damn it. Why is this illegal? I'll tell you why if you don't know. Do you know why?
No, sir.
No?
I gave you all the information I have just now.
Okay.
2 seconds ago.
Let me tell you why.
That was it. I'm out. It's on you now.
It sounds stupid, but there's a lot of money in boxing.
Yeah? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of money in boxing.
What's it called when you have a political party has somebody they answer to because they got a bunch of money? Who's that person called?
A lobby.
A lobby, yeah.
A lobby.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, look at the tobacco lobby. Yeah, that's a lobby.
The boxing lobby is not insignificant in New York State, home of Madison Square Garden, where a lot of boxing goes on. Yeah.
Good point, Madison Square Gardens. That's a good point.
If you're ever wondering why we don't have MMA, it's because a bunch of old-timey fucking assholes have a ton of money and own companies that make the paper towels that are probably sitting on your kitchen table right now.
Yeah, sure do.
I want to tell you, paper towels don't sound like a big lobby either until you consider that they own boxing and Tide
and the chemical
Pepsi
lobby
and Crest and General Mills and half of General Motors.
Stop naming specific brands.
I know they're all wrong. Every one of them.
You just make shit that isn't true entirely.
No, it's not true entirely.
I'm sure many of those brands you named are not owned by the same parent company.
No, but if they're not owned by Pepsi, they're owned by Coke.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
That's true.
On that level, we could probably assume 89% accuracy that the mother company of, if it's not Pepsi, it's Coke. Past that would be RC. The rest of them.
Oh, RC Cola. That's the Wegmans of colas. Not even real cola.
Bullshit, it's Wegmans of Cola. They have them in the South. Speaking of soda.
Fat kids?
That's where you were going with that. I saw that happen in your head.
Actually, I'm not sure what Fat Kids was about. I just see it on our board.
Well, our listener, numero uno, suggested to us a story about fat kids' obesity in public schools.
This is a different Tammy.
Yes.
Blow her Facebook up with love.
Now, I wrote it on the board assuming that you knew what we were going to be talking about because it was your
my,
suggestion.
that was a week ago.
I didn't read the story. I just remember.
They feed these kids terrible food in school.
That is true. Do you remember what you ate
several years ago?
Do you remember what you ate in school? It was garbage. It really was.
Yeah, it was like.
It wasn't good for you. None
it was
of
like
it was.
Mexican fiestadas. Those
Fiestada!
Like the most awesome things ever.
Stop sign pizza.
I don't know what that Fat Kids thing is about. What's up there?
I got.
The one I wrote down was.
Hunger strikes at Guantanamo.
Inmates at Guantanamo Bay Prison Facility, the most luxurious place to get waterboarded, just outside
and
of
sexually
the
assaulted on a
United
leash.
States. It's a fun time. You're gonna love Disney Guantanamo. It's gonna be great. The inmates there were entirely tired of being forced into solitary. Every single one of these guys was solitary. They had no inmate, no cellmates, no human contact except.
Well, it's not a real prison. It's a military installation.
It's not. And when she brought it up to me, I brought up to her that this is not for criminals in the general sense. This is for people who commit war crimes and terror acts.
This is a military installation.
Which, really, I mean, if they're going to quantify, the bomb at the Boston thing as a weapon of mass destruction, they might as well qualify a drunk driver as a weapon of mass destruction.
Could take as many lives.
Could absolutely
not lose as many limbs, but could take as many lives.
So you could find yourself instead of in vehicular manslaughter prison in Guantanamo Bay by that definition. These people, however, the current residents of Guantanamo, are like the baddest of the bad according to the people we trust the least.
Exactly, the U.S. government.
But we still trust them enough.
We have to
let them decide who belongs in Guantanamo. You got to think that none of these people are Girl Scouts, all right? But they started a hunger strike a significant months and maybe a year ago. I don't know. They started a hunger strike because they wanted to be in shared. They wanted bunkmates and stuff. They just wanted some human contact, somebody to talk to, and the U.S. caved. We caved to that. I'm thinking, why wouldn't you just
cave to that? I gotta say, that kind of sounds like an inalienable human right kind of thing. I could see, I'm not upset that they caved to that. That's human interaction is kind of I understand that these are the baddest, whatever, supposedly the baddest, supposedly. But even if that's the case, there are certain things that you're still a human being. You still deserve meals. You still deserve water. If we're going to keep you alive. If not, we just put a bullet in your head. If we're keeping you alive, you deserve meals and water.
Right.
You deserve the sunshine. You
deserve to have them forced upon you, though, because that's how bad the hunger strike got. They had to feed these people. They
force-fed prisoners.
Eat gruel.
You would be surprised how often that happens.
I don't think I would be.
In real prisons.
I don't think I would be that
this
surprised.
Country. They won't let hunger strikes happen.
I'm not very sympathetic to prisoners.
I know you're not.
Unless they're all Andy Dufresne. If they're all Andy Dufresne.
Who the Andy Dufresne?
Are you kidding me?
Educate me.
The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't remember the name. I didn't remember the name. Fucking screw you.
Oh my God. The next time you have 3 hours, watch The Shawshank Redemption.
I've seen the movie. I didn't remember the name.
So that it's more important to you, because I'm going to continue to make references to that movie, but not today, but soon.
Follow me. How's that reference? You like that reference?
Not happening.
Do you have any more thoughts before we head to break?
I don't know. Let me check the board.
You don't need to check the board.
No, I'm good.
All right. Thank you for joining us on AirWreck Radio episode 10.
Tensies.
10. I want you to do me a favor. I know I can feel the Facebook love. Every time I log into the Facebook, I can feel the Facebook love.
Don't you feel like a girl? Because like there's always little red notes.
Yeah, you feel
like,
special.
You feel like what a fat girl must feel like whenever she opens, because we always have like 6 notifications.
But what I need
is 100.
Is some Twitter love.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to feel like a skinny girl on Facebook. I need 100 Facebook things.
You're not 6 like a fat girl. Gotcha.
Corey needs Facebook love.
I need Twitter love.
Twitter love. I
need Twitter love. I need you to go to the Twitters. I need you to go to twitter.com/AirWreckRadio. I need you to sign up for the Twitter. I need you to follow me because I'm going to post lots of pertinent things that are not pertinent to anything, but things I think of and then type.
Let me ask you, if I get a real Twitter, not the one you made for me that I don't even know the password for, are you going to be mad at me if I blow up, like if you tweet something and I blow it up like I did that dog video thing when that fucking person was
I don't care. What do I care?
Those cops should be arrested for murder. I couldn't take it.
I do this for attention. What do I care?
All right, so you're good if it's my attention and not like 100 listeners.
I prefer 100 listeners, but I will take your attention as well. That's why I do this.
I got 99 problems and a listener ain't one.
Not one.
They're all me.
So please check us out on the Twitter. Check us out on the Facebook to satisfy his girly needs. And please do me a favor and check out our friends at secondprints.com. Listen to their latest episode, issue 18, AirWrecked. We're going to play you a couple minutes of that going into break here, and then we'll have another fine musical selection, and we will continue with our show and our favorite segment,
Headline News.
Headline News.
Today we have some guests from AirWreckRadio.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Stacey.
I'm Cory.
And we're AirWreckRadio joining our friends at Second Print today.
Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So, I'm going to start in with the boring shit right off the bat.
Okay, go for it.
So, if she has a tattoo of a naked lady on her arm, how far does the tattoo's tit sag?
20%.
Okay.
Yeah,
just
that's what we decided.
Yeah.
20% past sea level.
You got to stick them in the freezer so they tighten back up. That's you ready to go? No, I'm chilling my tits. Leave me alone.
These poor guys can't keep out alive because
It's perfect.
Bye.
That's why we call our show AirWreckRadio. We do this all day long, and we just never make a point, ever.
Right.
We always start out trying to make a point, and then we think of something funny. We're like, oh, butterfly.
There's a point somewhere in it, but you gotta look, you know?
Yeah.
It's not obvious.
And I'm sure any podcast will tell you this, the point's in the last 30 seconds, so you have to listen from the first second all the way to that last 30 seconds.
Right. So anyways.
Sorry. So Dexter.
True Blood, 2 thumbs down.
Man, we've been
saddened by
disappointed.
AJ gets to live, Meadow dies, and AJ gets to live.
That's not fair.
He goes on, and he's like, fuck New Jersey, and he moves to Hollywood and sucks cock to get by and becomes
I
totally
need
addicted
money.
to crack. Right.
I can't believe they have a character called Miss America, and like her superpower isn't the ability to answer softball questions without hesitation.
Right.
Stopping crime with rambling speech.
Right.
I just want to thank everybody out there who supported me, and I want to thank God for bringing me here so that I could be your Miss America.
Bad guys are like, screw it, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
She's pretty, but God, she just never shuts up.
That'd be a sweet superpower.
They are all controlled by the fucking CIA and the NSA because they can listen to fucking phone calls of politicians. You think they're not fucking doing it?
Listen,
Come on.
We all knew that was happening. We all felt that was happening. Now we have proof. That is the only thing that has changed in the last 6 months.
To say, though, after watching that, I can see why Batman wants to fuck Robin all the time. What a tight ass.
Well, you know, and that...
They were doing laundry, and he ran around like the whole... He ran around the whole episode like in his bare ass, and they showed his bare ass. So it's all,
Why wouldn't
I want to explain myself a little bit.
Did it move, John? Did it twinge a little bit? Is that what happened? My pants don't fit.
I saw another really neat Kickstarter program, speaking of statues.
Yeah.
That was like trophies for whatever. And it's like, Mom and Dad, I'm gay. Trophy, you know?
Here you go. What a great way to break some bad news. It's awesome.
Right.
Daddy's
And
number
there was
one
a bunch of them.
I'm sorry, honey. It's black. Good news. You're not the father.
Yeah, and I guess that's it.
I want to thank the AirWreckRadio crew here for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us. This was a good time.
Yeah, thanks, man. Just super
And
radio.
How can we listen to your show?
You can find us at facebook.com/AirWreckRadio, or you can email us at airwreckradio@gmail.com. Email us your address. I will mail you flowers. Promise. You can find us on Twitter at AirWreckRadio, and you can find us to listen to us at all the usual places. Your Stitcher, your iTunes, your... go to the Facebook. You'll find us there.
Cool.
All right, yeah. You can. I never mentioned that. You can get us on iTunes, Stitcher, Feedburner, No Agenda, Global Radio Network every Friday at 2 p.m. Right after Scott Horton and anti-war radio. All right, another issue
In the bag.
I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
Underneath my desk, no jest, it's time for the lot. Confess that the best of times got the worst of rhymes, and I don't think I'm the first to find my life devoted less to lyrics than it is to my struggle for Pyrrhic victory in the race to be the interweb's #1 devotee of smutty little things that recur on screen. Risque to hate quintuple X obscene milfs who shave themselves so cleanly, twins in positions unseemly. My spleen ain't the part that gets vented. I grabbed a hold and fat like I'm in it, distended. Probably ought to leave it alone. Spend more time stroking on the microphone. Got a boatload of midgets and they're in command of a full-grown woman on her knees and hands. Got a long, hard donkey and a farm girl too, and the brain so dismaying when it starts to spoo. You gotta click, close, put it away, cause the internet is FILTHY.
Alright guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining us at AirWreck Radio. Don't forget, please, to check us out on Second Prince. If you're on our Facebook, you're going to see it there. If you're on their Facebook, you're going to see it there. It's probably my worst plug ever. Go to secondprince.co. The issue we're on is issue 18. It's titled AirWreck. These guys run a comic book show. We had a blast doing their stuff. We enjoy comic books when, back in the day, we both were comic book people. Cory likes comic book heroes. I like comic books.
I wasn't a comic book guy. I would say I was a cartoon guy, but I was a Marvel guy.
Back when you were a kid, that was the thing, was like all cartoons were all like they had that awesome Batman cartoon.
Oh, yeah, that was the
Batman.
shit.
And then they had that mediocre X-Men cartoon, which was pretty good, and it didn't age well.
Well, that's when all the Marvel cartoons were coming out. Big was when I was watching a lot of TV.
Either way,
and again, I explained the last break about my reading situation.
These guys are not just a free podcast for you to put in your ears. They are also a pay money comic book store. They're called First Prince Comics, and they're on Dewey Ave. And if Cory would be
Dewey
so
Ave, that was you Unconquerable Souls.
You're correct.
First Prince Comics.
Get a tattoo.
Is 1540. Yeah, get a tattoo on Dewey Ave.
Souls. across from Walmart on Dewey Ave.
Yes.
Go there on Wednesday. Get a comic book character.
Bingo.
Tattooed on your ass. You're going to get 30% off. But
First
this
Print
week,
Comics is 1548 Buffalo Road, Gates, New York.
I told you it was going to be my worst plug ever. I told you, and I don't think you believe me.
I didn't until just now.
So we missed a quick news story on Simple Thoughts this week. So we're going to just recap that real quick. A woman yeah,
fucker,
was electrocuted by answering her charging iPhone 5. I want to tell you, Siri is a murderer.
I'm going to be investigated.
This might have been self-defense. I don't know. We'll find out in a convoluted trial that will distract us from everything important.
And then at the end of that, the Justice Department, the Justice, whatever the fuck it is going to investigate based on the possibility of racial discrimination inside of
I can't begin to address the irony in this situation. This woman...
I'm an iPhone user.
I know.
I've had an iPhone.
I know.
For years.
And it's never killed you yet.
Not yet. And I've answered it several times while plugged into the wall.
Well, I recommend you rethink that action. The company says the 23-year-old woman from China was electrocuted when she answered a call on the phone while it was plugged into the wall charging.
She's Chinese.
I know, the irony is not lost on me, sir. She was born to make iPhones and then murdered by an iPhone. It's terrible. It's like if a Chinese person gets kicked to death by people wearing Nike shoes. It's horrible.
If a 12-year-old child gets kicked to death by wearing Nike shoes.
No, that's not funny. That's a kid, man.
That's
Jeez,
accurate.
There's a line. I know, it is. It is. Those kids are in work camps.
I crossed your line. I'm so sorry. Fuck you.
Those kids are in work camps, and they have to bargain over a stick of gum. It's
it
terrible.
Sucks. Thank God I'm an American.
I know, right? It's not a bad place to be. It's... I mean, you can bitch and motherfuck this and that. You can be like,
I do that on a regular basis.
This system's all messed up, and the fucking injustice, the travesties, the consequences, and you're like, oh wait, the
hashtag no justice. Hashtag no justice.
The central air conditioning, the still affordable gas, I have cable.
I love central
and a
air.
cell phone, and most of us a smartphone. It's not really that bad.
No, I had a conversation with my old man today about remembering my first world problems or first world problems.
A song by our friend MC Frontalot.
First world problems.
We could use his music. First world problems.
I haven't heard that one. You got to send it to me.
You haven't?
No, you
well,
send
when
it to
we
me.
go to break,
that's what
you're
we're
going to hear
right.
First World Problems.
All right,
and a little skit also by MC Frontalot that comes in front of that song on the album.
Note.
You're going to love it. Anyway,
I really am making a note, even though I pretended like I was making a note.
It's confusing for me.
I
don't think anybody needed to know that. Not even me.
I wanted to damn share, and I will share whatever the hell I want. That's why we do this.
We need a brake noise, like the screeching brakes noise.
I'm working on getting the sound effects back up and running.
I just made one. If you weren't talking over it. Anyway.
You are not Fred. You suck.
What?
You were not Fred, and you suck. Do I have to say any louder?
Fred, that douchebag on Nickelodeon?
No, my God, no.
Oh, good. I hate that guy.
I went from Howie's show. The big dog with the hair.
Oh, Stern.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Whatever.
His sound effects guy is the cream of the crop. Is as good as they ever
His
call.
show I don't get to hear anymore because it costs money. Yeah. Folks, listen to our show. It's free. AirWreckRadio.
Yeah, it sure is.
You'll find it on Stitcher. Stitcher's awesome.
Oh my God, I love Stitcher.
It's so awesome. If you check out Stitcher and you leave our show to listen to Smodcast, you're making a good decision. I'm telling you. I don't even listen to our show anymore. It's so good. That's not true. I listen to our show 3 times a day, every day.
What a scumbag you are.
Smodcast is terrible. Don't listen to it.
Smodcast is terrible. That's why we're stealing his business model. All right.
Speaking of bad press, I think it's time we get down to headline news.
Headline news.
Somebody who's notorious for a little bit of bad press is making their way back into the public light, and I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty happy about that.
I love him. I know exactly who you're talking about, and I love him. I love him.
Eliot Spitzers, some of you may remember, and for those of you who don't, let me recap.
Oh, I wish I had a sloppy noise.
Eliot Spitzer was like the best governor any state is gonna have ever again.
A lot of there are 52 states that would argue with you, sir.
Well, there's only 50 states, so good for them.
They're not. I keep arguing with this. They're not. We still have Mexico and Canada.
I don't care what either of them think. They're none of them voters.
You could at least factor in Puerto Rico. Jesus Christ.
I think it's important to point out here that I honestly believe that Eliot Spitzer was the best governor any state will ever have these days and age.
I like them.
And these particular days and age, this state was fortunate enough to have Eliot Spitzer serving us. Eliot Spitzer was known as the sheriff of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give you a little timeline here so you guys can keep up.
Spitzer was a sheriff.
Spitzer was the sheriff of Wall Street between roughly 2006 and 2008, and we all might remember that in 2008, the fucking economy fell on our head.
It's not like that happened in an instant. That was a long leading situation.
It's not like it happened in an instant, but you know what happened first? You know what happened before the economy fell? The guy known as the Sheriff of Wall Street lost his job because the bad news about being up bankers' asses, they can see your checking accounts.
Uh-huh.
And if you piss them off enough, they're going to be like, well, what were you doing at this particular hotel at this particular time? And he's like, about that. I was fucking a whore. But,
fucking whores.
But I only paid for the hotel with state money. Maybe he had to be there already. I don't know. Wikipedia doesn't give you that information, but it doesn't change the fact that Eliot Spitzer was...
Well, it does change the fact. It doesn't change the fact that you're making, but it does change a fact. If he paid for hotel, which whether it needed to be or not is not illegal. Whether he needed the hotel or not, which is a taxpayer issue. But not illegal.
It's important to consider. Did he need to be in a hotel in that area at that time?
If you already did, then what are we talking
that's
about?
Taxpayer money.
If you didn't, then that's an issue. But legally, he did not spend any taxpayer money on any kind of illegal activity. He bought a hotel. He bought a train ticket. Maybe dinner. Some socks to wear. Eliot Spitzer likes to have sex with his socks on.
Is that...
Yeah, the prostitute that he got busted with totally admitted that to the public.
That's like, is that the dirtiest thing he did? Or?
Pretty much, black socks.
Come
all
on.
All the way up.
We forced this man to resign.
No, because he likes to have sex with the socks on. Oh, wait, no, that's not why.
Not even naked sex. He still had socks on. Oh my God. That's like the most effective form of contraception.
That's a man with athlete's foot. I'll guarantee you that's a man with athlete's foot.
Oh, no, it's not. No, that's a man who ain't got time for fussing with his feet. Feet got no part in sex.
No, you know me. I don't take my feet don't show. I don't show people my feet. You know me. I
don't show people my feet often either, but I do wear sandals.
Really, Jesus, sandal man?
Sometimes I am a little concerned about cutting up a young lady's legs.
Yeah. But
with my man toenails. I mean, they're the only talents that I get to have as being a primate in the 21st century.
If you ever had to climb a tree, they'd be awesome. But since, as modern man, we have very little tree climbing necessities.
If I ever had to climb a tree, I'd be boned. Man, if I was in Quest for Fire and there was a saber-toothed cat coming at me, I'm dead.
I'm fighting it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to bare-knuckle box it, but it's not going to end well, and I know that.
I'm fighting it. What I'm hoping for is that I'm going to get a clean enough nose shot that I can get around to the throat.
What I'm hoping for is that it bites my head off immediately.
But tears my throat out, so I only have 30 seconds of agonizing pain as I realize I'm dying.
More importantly, I think, is the fact that Eliot Spitzer...
Was that you said earlier about a radio show coming undone? Mission accomplished. Eliot Spitzer
Fuck
has
it.
sex with his socks on and is now running for comptroller of New York City.
His opponent is a saber-toothed cat.
Then I would fight, and you would hope killed you. Now he's going for comptroller, right? Not controller?
Comptroller.
Okay, they're two different jobs.
I don't know what comptroller is. It
It's
sounds
something
like
to do with
what
money.
somebody
I know
who
that.
like.
I know it was a guy who resigned because there was an issue with money that he spent incorrectly. Is running for another office that involves money.
I don't care. I don't care.
Neither do I personally, but I could see where somebody might say, "Hey,
I can definitely be like, all right, whatever, sure, he definitely." But there's no evidence that he spent
Episode 10,
public money.
still no cough button.
Yeah. There's no evidence that he spent any money on prostitution on prostitutes. So terrible.
No evidence that he spent any publicly funded money on prostitutes, only the accommodations in which to acquire a prostitute, i.e. a hotel room, and a train ticket for her.
Well, you know, she's got a long way to go to the...
That better been some mighty pussy.
God damn it, I still don't care. This guy was the only guy fighting the fucking banks when we needed somebody fighting the fucking banks. And guess who got him fired? The fucking banks.
The fucking banks.
And now, hindsight is 2020. We happen to know that the banks were taking America on a slippery little slope toboggan ride that we're still recovering from. And this was like 2008.
The
So
question
we're
I
5
have
years
for you,
later.
I know you're a big Elliot Spitzer guy, and so am I. I love Spitzer. But I also know how passionate you are about the DWI laws. And guess who was the leading champion of the stricter DWI laws brought forth in 2006, 2007, something like that, in that range? Eliot Spitzer.
Well, about that.
Curveball, how's that feel?
Kind of separate.
You
know what?
You're not going to agree with everything everybody
I'm gonna tell
does.
you, I'm not a big fan of his DWI policy. Then.
Yeah, but everything else you did was brilliant.
A big fan of it. I'll tell you
Good.
what.
I just
I'll tell
wanted to
you
floor
what.
you with that.
If
you brought it up to me earlier.
No, I got an answer for that. I'll tell you what. Right now, we're at 0.05 blood alcohol level that you're allowed to have while you're 0.05. Can you believe that? That's what you get a DWI for 0.05 right now.
Mouthwash.
Now, if you presented me with that, but we're like, congratulations, it's Dow 21,000 because the economy crash of 2008 didn't happen because Eliot Spitzer was fucking Superman. I'll take the stricter DWI laws that we currently have to take because they're still getting forced down our throat. I don't care. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it had happened then, I wouldn't care. Now, what the fuck? We're depressed because our economy's in the shit can, and you're shoving down a 0.08. You know who is the last small
0.05.
I'm sorry. 0.05. You know who's the last bastion of hope for small business owners? Bars. You know who funds a lot of startup projects, art galleries, and music venues? Bars. You know who's losing their clientele left and right? Bars. 0.05, ridiculous. But if we were at Dow 21,000, I might be a little less concerned about it because I might be making $20,000 more a year. Because trickle-down economics works, according to every Republican's hero, Ronald Reagan.
If I made $20,000 more a year, I would just sit home and drink instead of going to the bar because I was happy that I was making so much more a year.
I don't think that's true.
Fuck the bar.
I don't think if I made $20,000 a year,
I go to the bar more. I
would
get more
spend
money for the bar.
$10,000 a year at the bar. Are you kidding me? I would have a part-time job drinking at the bar.
I've always thought about. I always wanted to get a part-time job at a bar just so I had an excuse to be there outside of being an alcoholic. Not that an alcoholic ever needed an excuse. It would just be nice.
So good news for alcoholics and non-alcoholics alike. Eliot Spitzer is making a run back.
I don't live in New York City, but I encourage anybody in New York City who listens to AirWreck Radio to vote Eliot Spitzer. Go Spitzer.
But bring him back, man. I want him back as our governor. Do you recall who our governor was after Eliot Spitzer?
Yeah,
I
believe he had vision problems.
He did have vision problems.
An African American gentleman.
He was a black guy.
He had a last name that began with the letter P and ended with Adderson.
Oh, you know?
Yes.
You remember. Good job.
I remember Governor
Did you remember or did you
Patterson.
search it because I told you about it before the show?
No, I remember Governor Patterson. I had a
Good
lot
for
of
you.
jokes
I had
about
to
the
really
blind
think
black
about
governor.
My biggest joke was the fact that our license plates turned yellow during a blind man's reign. like nobody voted for David Patterson, but he felt like he needed to change the color of our license plates. He couldn't even see them. What the fuck? What is he that much of a Black Panther? He's like, those white license plates are offensive. Change them to Chinese license plates. And they're like, I don't even know what kind of obscene idiocy this guy's spouting. We'll make him yellow. Maybe that's what he's talking about. So that's what they did. And he was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. I know, because I can see those motherfuckers.
Right back to offending at least 3% of our listening base.
David Patterson was an embarrassment to New York State. He was the worst thing.
He was just a holdover. He was temporary.
But he was more than he made a bunch of unpopular decisions.
He really did. In his
none of which I have in front of me right now.
No.
But I'm pretty sure one of them concerned that whole thing about like the size of drink you could have in New York City with
that was Bloomberg.
I know it was Bloomberg, but I think Patterson backed it.
Maybe, but not as governor, because that was after his reign as governor.
I don't think that's. I don't know. There was something
pretty sure
about
that was they being as Cuomo
he
too.
was trying to ban fucking high fructose corn syrup.
Poor
or something. I don't know.
Cuomo too. He got elected because his dad was awesome, and it turns out he's a moron.
Andrew Cuomo. Oh my god.
Mario is the shit. Andrew is an idiot.
I was such a fan of
Mario?
Police Chief.
Oh yeah.
Cuomo's little sidekick now. I was such a fan of him as our governor in Rochester, and I was so happy about that. Like
Bob Duffy, Robert.
Yeah.
Bob Duffy.
Bob Duffy.
I love Bob Duffy. For
I
Rochester,
loved
he was
Bob
awesome
Duffy
here.
until he went off and made his run at
Lieutenant Governor.
Lieutenant Governor, that's what it's called. I was so disappointed in that because I got a real problem with electing an official to a position and then having them spend half their time in that position running for the next position up.
Welcome to every other political position.
No, I know.
They all do it.
I know that's how you climb the ladder.
Yeah.
I see a real big fucking problem with that. Because we're paying them an assload of money to be Rochester governor, and instead of doing that job,
Rochester governor,
whatever he was, mayor. I don't. It doesn't matter.
Have another beer.
It doesn't matter. It just distracts from the point. We paid him an immense sum of money to perform the job of head executive branch of Rochester.
He did a very good job, and
he
I was
did a
happy
great
that
job.
He was
I
there.
was so happy he was there, and then he started running for lieutenant governor, and there he goes.
There he goes. See ya,
for
bye,
the next
Bob.
year, we're paying him to go do something else, and I had the same problem with Maggie Brooks. She did the same thing. She
County
made a run.
executive.
She was the county executive, and this year she made a run. This past year, she made a run at the Senate seat. And she got spanked.
Yeah, well, that was going to happen. She's still county executive, isn't she?
She is still county executive. You know what pisses me off about that spankness? I gotta wonder how much of her county executive pay made that a doable thing for her.
None. All that county executive pay went in her friggin' pocket.
Right, it's still her money.
And we paid for the rest of it, as well as her money.
Yeah, that's your campaign finance reform hot topic point.
Yep.
This week on AirWreck Radio. It's absolutely absurd that you could vote somebody into a position for 2 years, and then the next year they have to take another election where they can like run for a higher position, and you get to pay them to do that instead.
Even in a 4-year office, you're only paying for 2 years of actual working in that office. The other 2 years you're paying for running for other offices or just coming into office.
Unless you're in the second term.
So
of
it's that people enact 4-year plans. 2-year plans. I have 2-year plans because after my 2 years or my 4 years, I don't give a damn.
But I would prefer that to the longevous bastards, though.
Like what? Like who? Like Roosevelt with his 16 years as president? Or
The Congress folk who are just like
the same congressman for 30 fucking
the dynasty,
years.
These fucking people that are just like, well, we voted for him in the 60s. I guess Kennedy. We should keep voting for him now.
I don't know. Ted Kennedy's a good senator, though.
Depends on who you ask.
A lot of people.
I don't have my facts, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who would say
he's still senator, so that's got to say something.
Rush Limbaugh is still on the radio, so that's got to say something.
He's good at what he does, as much as you don't like him.
But people hate
I don't
him.
like him.
That's what I'm saying.
He's good at what he does.
Actually, I've one of the.
You're a Republican. You probably like him, except he's a little extreme for you.
I'm not what people think of it when they think of a Republican. I just registered so that I could sign petitions and take primaries.
I registered as an independent. So what's your excuse?
Can you still take place in primaries?
Mm-hmm.
Your independent candidate, is he also on one of the other
I can still
candidates?
vote. Just because I registered independent doesn't mean I can't vote for whoever I want.
No, in primaries.
Yeah, as long as there's an independent candidate, which there always is, I can vote.
Well, go Perot. In 96?
I would never have voted for Perot, but that's all right. Creepy little big-eared bastard.
So anyway,
he scared the shit out of me.
I think we can all agree.
I was a little boy.
Vote for Spitzer if you can vote for Spitzer for.
We totally wanted, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh,
any
it.
public office that you can vote for Eliot Spitzer and vote for him. Eliot Spitzer was willing to take on the big money when nobody else was, and as soon as he was deposed, the bottom fell out of the market.
Boom.
And America was left facing things like Obamacare, which is a horribly named. It's actually called the Affordable Care Act, which is it's still a horrible name, completely unaffordable. It was what President Obama lined out for us was not what we were given to.
Last week was the on-air suicide. We're not going through that this week.
Well, then, God damn it, what's your fucking news story?
I was trying to get through there.
You can't segue from Eliot Spitzer to Egypt. There's no way to do it. So.
I was about to do it if you would just stop flapping your gums.
I'm sorry. God damn it. What was your segue?
My segue was we might have wandered a little bit on the Eliot Spitzer subject, but this is our radio show, and we will do whatever the hell we would like, including demanding that we talk about civil unrest in Egypt, as somebody's radio host might have done.
It wasn't me, folks.
No,
it was not me.
Sure wasn't. It was me, because symbolically, I believe this to be more important than a lot of people give it credit for, especially, and it really friggin' irritates me, but the guy across the table from me.
Symbiotically, Carnage was only 2/3 Spider-Man. Sorry.
I said symbolically.
I know, I said symbiotic. It's a Spider-Man joke. I know comic book friends are going to love it.
It's true.
Then they're going to call me up and be like, he's only 30%, not 60%, you idiot.
In 2011.
You're welcome.
In 2000. Oh my God. Thank you for joining us.
I found the joke for the Egypt thing. Hooray!
Thank you for joining us on AirWreck Radio. In 2011, the people of Egypt joined together, January 2011 through February and March. The people of Egypt joined together to conduct a series of civil protests and upheavals.
This was last year we're talking about.
January of 2011, I just said.
All right, this is the previous revolt.
This is the original.
I know what you said. I just want to make sure everybody else knows what you said.
January of 2011, the people of Egypt, in an organized, peaceful civil unrest, took to the streets in demonstrations, marches, occupations, riots, non-violent resistance, civil disobedience. I guess you could argue a little bit of illegal acts there. Civil disobedience is a crime. And labor strikes. That's the one that really interests me.
Labor strikes.
Labor strikes were part of the overthrow of their government. The people set out to overthrow President Mubarak. Hosni. You got to forgive me on the first name. Hosni Mubarak.
I thought that was the president this time.
No. That was the original president in 2011.
Who was the president this time?
I don't know his name. I had it and I lost it. God damn it. Is it Mohammed Al Harran? Maybe that's it. I don't remember.
I think you got it backwards, man.
No, Mubarak is the guy that they put out in 2011. I know for a military fact. He was a fucking half a cruel dictator. He was. I know. I don't question me on this one. You were giving me the question face. Military fact. Mubarak was the first one that they put out. I don't remember the guy. I know it's the Muslim Brotherhood that runs the government now, that they're putting out now. But I don't remember the specific leader's name. He's part of the Muslim Brotherhood, though, who we as Americans, as the American government, endorse.
That is all correct. The person who was recently disposed was the
Muhammad Al-Aaron? Is that him?
Al-Parsha, maybe?
I don't remember. Whatever. We're not a news show. It doesn't really fucking matter. Why couldn't you just Google current president of Egypt?
I didn't do that.
Do that.
I'm working on it. It's hard to be second seat and Google shit.
What are you talking about? Anyways. AirWreckRadio. Anyways. They upheave the government under Mubarak. They kill Mubarak. So as far as violence goes, that ended there. Because they killed his ass.
Yes, you're correct.
I know I was. Then they moved.
Actually, was sentenced on June 2nd, June 2012. Mubarak was sentenced to life imprisonment by an Egyptian court. After sentencing, he was reported to have suffered a series of health crises. Can you believe it?
That resulted in what?
He was in a coma. Others stating that he had a stroke or had been on life support.
He's now dead.
All right, dead enough. Okay.
2 years later, the Muslim Brotherhood moves in and sets up a government. 2 years later, the people of Egypt decide that the progress that they are trying to make isn't happening fast enough.
Well,
that the government that they have allowed to move in isn't benefiting their best interest. That is not moving towards the interest, and they are literally moving towards a government run by Superman.
It was more
truth, justice, in the American way. It's just, they're looking for a government based on.
They do seem to be looking for a Western-style government
based on
that runs on
civil liberties and equal rights. And the Muslim Brotherhood wasn't bringing it to them fast enough, so they're revolting again. They've taken to the streets again. They stopped working again.
I gotta stop you. Are you telling me
that a group called the Muslim Brotherhood,
Muslim Brotherhood wasn't bringing civil equalities to the people fast enough? For reals? How did they vote this guy in? Morsi. They have so many of these.
Morsi, is that the new guy?
The Muslim countries really love the M word.
Yeah.
No matter what word follows the M, if it starts with an M, they're like Muhammad, Morsi, Mustafopoulos. They love it. They love it.
You were making a point before we got distracted by Mustafopoulos.
No, I wasn't. I was asking a question. How did Morsi get elected if he was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood?
I don't have the exact details, but I don't believe that he was.
I'll make them up as you go. I don't care.
I don't believe that he was. I believe he was appointed.
I think that's a pretty popular sentiment these days, is that they had a quote marks election, end quotes.
Yeah.
And they were told that Morsi won the election, but the trouble is like, how could a bunch of people that just incited a riot for democracy
and now has no government because they've destroyed it,
a totalitarian regime? How could they have done that?
Doesn't make any sense now, does it? Because it didn't happen.
You know, the thing about revolutions, though, sometimes things happen afterwards that don't make sense, and you got to kind of get over them quickly.
That's kind of a point. That happens a lot, actually. A revolution, and then a dictator tries to move it in its place.
Yeah.
And then the people go, wait, whoa.
I was all down with drinking the Kool-Aid until you said there was a bunch of arsenic in it.
But now I'm not so much down for that damn Kool-Aid no more.
This Death to America thing, it doesn't really jive with our tourist-based economy.
Yeah, no, we like people to come here and spend their money. You know who has the most money to spend here?
Americans, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's a good question. That's a good answer.
Well, we know that we can't trust the South Koreans to fly you there, so America's the way to go.
It took me a second.
I could tell.
To connect the dots.
Yeah, avoid South Korean pilots these days.
You were right, by the way, crow eating. You were right.
It was a 777.
It was 43 hours. It was 43 hours. It was 43 hours. It was a 777.
Yep.
But I still stand behind the fact, and I know I heard it 4 times since then, that it came in too fast, slowed down, overcompensated, was then too low and too slow. That's what caused the accident.
I have listened to talk radio for 2 weeks, almost solid now, and I've heard a million stories about this, and I haven't heard the too fast thing. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't going too fast. It just means that maybe it's going back a little too far, because you could also say he had a successful takeoff. It was a great takeoff. It went textbook takeoff. Landing little down. Not so good.
2 young girls are dead.
3 now.
3? Was it?
Yeah, third one died today. Just to put a little levity on the situation, I guess.
Just to bring everybody's mood down a little bit.
So anyway, on to lighter subjects. Egypt is
good for them. Good for them.
And
they got rocky days coming ahead of them, but good for them. You know, these are a group of people who won't be held down. They overthrow their older government. The people take the streaks. They have labor strikes, which again,
labor strikes.
You don't
get that kind of political move.
What an effect, though. What a ripple effect that is to really send a message. That's really something that
I'll tell you. I think it might be coming here. I heard a news story. If I may derail.
Derail, sir. It's episode 10. We will do as we like.
I read a news story about, and I don't have specifics, but I do have specific numbers. 650,000, that's 650,000, publicly paid employees, government employees, have been and placed on a furlough where they lose 20% of their pay.
Okay.
In the midst of this furlough, an article I read pointed out to me that $3.5 million. That's $3,500,000.
Oh my God, are you boring? Go on.
You're welcome. $3.5 million spent on protecting a gopher species that lives in proximity to a specific military base.
Gophers?
Now, let me put these numbers down for you one more time so you can get a handle on them. 650,000 people laid off. $3.5 million spent on keeping gophers safe. The point of that article was exactly what you just heard. I took it a little bit further, and I took the quick time to do the math. Do you know what that? It's $3.5 million. Not a small amount of money, right?
No, but now there's 600. How many?
650,000 people. You know what that is? I want to tell you how to find that out if you don't know it. I want you to get your calculator, open up your phone, and get your calculator out. And I want you to divide 3,500,000 divided by 650,000. And what you're going to end up with is a dollar amount equal to $5.38 per person.
For a year.
For a year. So before you get all up in arms about that wasteful spending, think about what it really comes down to when you break it down to so many people. Now, we were talking about work strikes in Egypt, labor strikes, and I was just comparing them to how, like, currently our own public employees have been cut 20% on this furlough. But they won't strike. Nobody's striking.
Oh, well, you will find that as governments fail, The first person to pay are the low-level government employees. They're the first checks to dry up.
Absolutely, because they're potentially wasteful.
Guess who can be one of the most
people on the bottom floor of government.
Adversaries of the people on the bottom floor of the government. The people who have the mailroom clerks.
Oh, it's like Nazis shooting teachers. It just makes sense. You get rid of the ground level resistance by poppering them. You think. But then it turns out that they're the most educated on how things work, and
my grandfather said that in today's world, the only way for us, the American people, to ever consider overthrowing our government wouldn't be one of might, because if they used the military against us, we would just be absolutely decimated.
Yeah, who's got...
Although, as an adult who knows a lot of soldiers, I don't know that that's necessarily true.
Yeah, I would like to think that a lot of soldiers would cross sides.
They would not be firing on civilians.
If the right reasons were in place, I would like to think that the American army would be like,
I like the whole thing. You seem to go back to Egypt. With the 2011,
military threw it over
with the 2011 revolt.
Oh, I don't know that one.
In the 2011 revolt, the military ignored orders from Mubarak, the president.
Yeah.
Set up positions in front of all the national monuments and all the natural wonders and all that. The pyramids
to keep
and
the
all
pyramids
the
and the monuments safe,
so that rioters didn't damage those things.
Right.
They let the rioters do what they needed to do. And I would hope that the response from the American military would be the same, at least on the individual level. I could kind of get as corrupt as it is that on the giant level they would still follow. On the leadership level, they would still follow orders.
I'm telling you, in a nerdy side point, this is why you need to watch Battlestar Galactica. Because that's the kind of military decision you root for, and it's the kind of military decisions presented on that show.
I did it in real life. I rooted for it.
I know, but
I saw the Egyptian guards standing outside the museums, and went, yes!
It's much prettier in space.
Oh, that's true.
it's way prettier in space.
But,
go ahead.
No, you just told me.
I was hoping you had something. I didn't.
Well, we touched on Egypt, and then we moved into the parallels here in the United States, and I'm not going to be the one to call for a public uprising, a revolt.
It's difficult to make it relatable.
I don't think it is. The spirit of a people who will not be oppressed, I do not think is unrelatable, especially to the people of this country. I do not feel that way.
To the people that are thinking, and the people that listen to this show and shows like it, the people that are open to new ideas and are also constructing their own new ideas, it's not that unrelatable. But to the masses, it's a little difficult to wrap your head around this revolt in another place that's like the Middle East.
Especially
oh my God, a revolt in the Middle East.
The big issue isn't so much the original revolt, it is the secondary one where they are not allowing for stagnant situations. They're not allowing for regress. They want to move forward, and the people have revolted again in a second attempt, a second wave of the original revolution to move forward. Symbolically, I think that is what is important, is the second wave. That not only are we going to do it, it's not happening correctly, and we will not be held down. And to the American people, I think that should touch every single one of them in a certain place, no matter how. And I understand how hard it is to differentiate the difference. Differentiate.
Right. No, it was a good pronunciation.
Because you see the pictures on the TV and it just looks like the first time they did it. You don't even realize they're doing it again.
First off, when you see the pictures of Egypt on the TV, it doesn't look anything like what you're used to seeing on the TV.
Yeah, it doesn't look like sandy camels.
There's such a big white sky, and it's not
not a major city.
There's no grass going on there. You're just used to seeing those images in accordance with war. You're used to seeing soldiers in that area. So who gives a shit that there's soldiers in that area? But these soldiers might actually happen to be doing what I hope to hell the American soldiers do when
we just did that.
But I don't care. You wanted to talk about this, and I was like, I can't talk about this without like giving a shit. And it's hard for me to give a shit, so I found a point to give a shit about.
You should give a shit, though.
The point that I give a shit about is God help us all if the American army never decides to side with the American people.
Do you think it would ever come to that? You say that like revolution is imminent.
Not imminent. No, I would not say. I'm not one of those people that would be like imminent. I wouldn't be like the American Revolution is right around the corner. I don't believe that. I don't believe it.
Possible.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
Well, any educated mind would say anything's possible, but probable.
Potentially. I would say potentially. I'm not preparing for it with bunkers and shit, but it crosses my mind from time to time that perhaps the American people will be like, you know what, we're sick of you force-feeding race issues down our throats like those are still relevant. We're sick of you telling us that abortion is a big goddamn deal every 4 years when we all know
you're not ready to...
Freedom means being free. But
what you're telling me is you're not ready to take to the streets over it.
No.
But people are willing to take to the streets over way lesser of importance situations, and I know I'm guilty of being distracted by those things.
I saw a guy once, he was protesting the way Wegmans treats their chickens. It was a Sunday afternoon. He was all alone with a picket sign out on Calkins Road.
They're chickens!
They're like the apples of the meat world. I don't care. I don't care if they slap them twice a day. Don't care. As long as they're
slit
delicious
their throats
and
they're
affordable,
delicious.
I don't care how you treat a chicken. This guy cared, and he was willing to care enough to take this. Good for him. Still, I almost cared enough about not caring about him to get another sign and say, don't you have something better to do on a Sunday afternoon?
And sit directly in front of him?
Or maybe open a chicken barbecue across the street.
From chicken you bought from Wegmans.
What a fucking asshat.
You make it a big ordeal. You go in, you buy 50 pounds of chicken.
We all know that Taco Bell's chickens are born without feet, beaks, feathers, or a full set of chromosomes. Nobody gives a shit.
They're just twitching piles of breasts.
This guy, yeah, they're like giant amoeba. That's actually a chicken breast, single cell. But this guy's out there fucking protesting Wegmans. There's a million of these motherfuckers in in Egypt. And if you want to get down to it, there's actually 83,611,000 of these motherfuckers in Egypt, only they're not getting out over chickens. They're getting out over being totalitarianized. Completely made up word.
I wish I could fuck you up, but I can't.
So made up word. I don't know if anybody knows this. I didn't know it. Egypt is actually the 15th most populated country in the world. 15.
Interesting factoid, sir.
That's
a big, out of 220 something. That's a pretty big number.
That gives them a higher population than any single country in the European Union.
Really?
It gives them a higher population than any single state in the American Union.
Really? Above New York?
83 million. And New York's got like 300 million. No, America's got 300 million.
Yeah, America's got 300 million. New York's got about 60 million with the city.
Yeah.
Rochester's got 2 million.
Yeah,
Rochester's got 2 million.
New York does not have 60 million.
Well, Rochester's got 2 million.
Egypt has 83.
Greater Rochester has 2 million.
83 million in Egypt, the 15th largest, putting them above Germany, who's the 16th, Iran, the 17th, Turkey, the 18th, France, the 21st, UK.
You're the only guy who does a list backwards. You're the only guy who does the list and then goes down.
You'll never guess who is the 14th, who's just slightly more populated than Egypt. So, I should have wrote it down.
You'll never guess because you'll never know.
Ethiopia.
Really?
Number 14, Ethiopia.
That's interesting. All the jokes we play.
This according to Wikipedia. Well, it makes sense. They're starving because there's 100 fucking million of them and only one goat.
You would think people dying of starvation would hurt your population numbers.
No, they don't have that kind of government. They just shoot people and make babies into soldiers. It's a terrible place to be. You want to see a group of people that should revolt? Look at Ethiopia. However, they have no organization whatsoever.
Taken to the streets. How about in this country? People are willing to take to the streets over a court case but not over the way the government's run.
Yeah.
Riots. There were riots in L.A. Everyone said there's not going to be any riots.
Oh, who rioted? Who rioted? Did the smart people riot?
No.
Who rioted? The base people? Did the base people riot?
Morons.
Who cares? A bunch of fucking Steve-O's got out there and fucking threw a riot. Oh, we're fucking rioting. No, you're not. You're stealing shit and burning stuff down. I don't care. I don't care about their rioting. Don't give a shit at all.
How do you feel about the Trayvon?
I feel like it's smoke and mirrors. I feel like it's all... We're all meant to give a shit about this because the news just plasters it in your face. I listened to 4 different radio shows today, and I heard it plastered all over your face. Into your ears, I guess. Not really all over your face. Radio's not for the rest of your face.
I listened to 3. Different from you, I guarantee. All of them, that's all they talked about.
Well, it's Monday. It's the first day of the week.
And they happen on Saturday.
After the verdict. It's all smoke and mirrors. And it's there to distract you from what's really going on. And I'll tell you what's really going on. What's really going on is that it must have been a great weekend for the Martin family. It turns out their son wasn't murdered, and I'm sure they're feeling pretty happy about that right now. Thank you so much for joining us on AirWreck Radio.
It ain't easy, but it's worth it. It's worth the trouble and it's worth the time. I've been waiting days and months now, waiting patient for you, Evangeline. Winter's coming with its cold winds blowing. Mama's springtime ain't far behind. Summer, fall, any season at all. I'll be waiting for you, Evangeline. When my waiting time is through, I'll be standing here for you. Through all these shifts of space and time, girl, you're always on my mind, Evangeline. It ain't easy, but it's worth it. It's worth the trouble and it's worth the time. And I've been waiting days and months now, waiting patient for you, Evangeline.
Thank you for listening. We want to take a moment to speak to you about a subject that I am sure is close to all of our hearts. All we are asking for is a few simple seconds of your day to save one of these poor creatures. Abused, neglected, and forgotten. It's simply disturbing. These pseudo broadcasters are left without anyone to interview or to create all their content for them. Let's face it, this job's a lot easier when someone else does all the heavy lifting. Please, take just a few seconds of your day to help these poor, neglected creatures by emailing them AirWreckRadio@gmail.com with your booking suggestions and feedback. Thank you for your time and compassion.
These are the AirWreckRadio interviews.
Thank you for listening to AirWreck Radio. This is episode 10.
If you folks at home could see the puppy dog eyes.
This is my best William Shatner.
Okay. That's topical.
Thank you for listening to episode 10. To us here at AirWreck Radio, this is a symbolic episode. 10 weeks, double digits, and both of us are still alive. We haven't murdered each other.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've actually murdered myself in the time that it took to make 10 episodes of this.
For our very special 10th episode, we are featuring the most special guests that we could ever feature.
Helmet special.
Of course. I love you. And that would be ourselves. The only thing we can't decide. Basically, the gig is he's going to interview me and I'm going to interview him. But we cannot freaking decide who goes first. So it comes down to coin toss.
The old coin toss.
I'm going to toss it in the air. He's going to call it. The person who wins decides first or second. Fair?
Got it.
Good?
Ready to rock. Let's flip that motherfucker.
In the air.
And the flip, I'm going to go with heads. Heads, I go first.
All right. And the answer is tails.
Tails.
So I have to go first. So.
That means that you're interviewing me first.
Yes.
Okay. Cory is in the AirWreck studio live with a very special guest, Stacey motherfucking Coughlin.
Ooh. I think this might be the first time you've mentioned your last name on the show.
Welcome to AirWreck Radio. Your hosts are Cory Payne, Stacey Coughlin.
Yeah, I'm not
Interview
afraid.
time.
I'm not afraid to use my last name because it's a great radio name.
That's an interview question. Stop blowing up my spotlight.
Well, I can't help fucking your own shit just because I'm doing my shit. I know you're from the Rochester area. Where are you from, Stace?
I'm from a little known area. It's known by the residents of the area as Ballantyne. Although most people would be confused by that. We went to Wheatland Chili.
Okay.
We shopped in Henrietta until there was a Wegmans in Chili. Then we started shopping in Chili. Brighton was right across the river. Henrietta was right across the river, and Chili was just down the road. Our mailing address was Rochester. Basically, if you're a resident of Ballantyne, you'll know what I'm saying when I say that Ballantyne is nowhere.
Basically, what you're trying to confirm for me is that you're from the wrong side of the river in our city. Not so much the tracks in our city.
Not if you're talking to me. I would say that I'm from the exact right point on the globe. There is no better place to be from.
And everybody else is from the wrong side of the river.
The mosquito-ridden
swampland that
known
is
as Ballantyne is a beautiful place to raise your children / hooligans.
Spent a few years living in that neighborhood.
It's a good place for a kid.
I really do like that neighborhood for children as far as the mosquito-infested swampland that it is. These are true facts.
It is definitely got some mosquitoes.
True facts.
So that's where I'm from.
So, at what point in your life did you move from there?
Oh, my parents were splitting up. I was 18, 19, I think. Maybe I was in high school. You know what? I was in high school when they split up. I must have been a senior or junior. And we moved to Chili Heights Apartments. And I still went to the same school. I didn't have to leave my school. But me and my mom and my sister, we moved on yonder from Ballantyne.
If anybody can associate a reference, I'm from a small town called Honey Falls. There's a similar housing development there. We call it the projects. So I'm familiar with the housing development you're talking about.
I don't think that I never considered it as a projects kind of place. It was
It's a poor
the
white
apartment
people
that I
place.
lived.
It's a poor white people place.
Yeah, I don't think of the projects and think of poor white people.
No.
It's not what comes to mind.
But that's the association that we made in town because we had a place like that too.
Okay. Well, in Honeoye Falls, there was one affordable apartment
complex.
Right.
It's affordable. I mean, I don't mean to be like a fucking prick about it.
Right. No.
In real life, it really is affordable, and everyone else was ridiculous.
Probably between $435 and $625 a month.
But we just call it the projects of Honeoye Falls because that's where the poorer people live.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. So you moved into an apartment complex during high school, and at this point, what was your structure? What was your family structure? What kind of support did you have at this point?
My mother provided me with all the support that I could have asked for. One would I think the follow up with was it enough? Well, I don't know. I mean,
that's what the follow up was. I'm glad we're on the page.
Certainly, my mother did everything she could to do the best by me that she could, but she also had to be her own adult self. And at some point, that left me to have to be my own adult self, and it was perfectly timed. I don't resent it one little bit that in my senior year I had my own apartment for all intents and purposes. It was terrific. I loved it. I was an adult, and I was ready to make an adult decisions and hold down things, and it really went well. I cannot complain about that period of my life. And I certainly felt like I had enough support from my mother's side. Like, my mom would support me in anything I did. If I was like, hey mom, I want to go shoot a goat in the face for no fucking reason, she'd be like, well, I wish you wouldn't do that, but if you're gonna, good for you.
Just make sure you don't get too dirty while you do it, darling.
Film it, I guess.
If you can figure out to make yourself famous out of it, that's what...
Yeah, pretty much. But it was totally like the place to be for me.
I would say you don't feel any resentment towards the fact that you were thrust into that position at that age.
No, am I a little bit pissed off at my old man for making the decisions that led my family to be there? I was. Then I was, but now it's there's not really anything to be done about it. It is what it is, they say, and I would say it here too. I was angry.
At what age? Oh, sorry.
But it's been a long time gone. It's like when Dave Mustaine was mad at Metallica. Now they're both in huge metal bands that are irrelevant to anybody who thinks of metal these days. They're not really mad at each other anymore. Well, it's the same between me and my dad. We stopped being mad at each other a long time ago.
That's good. What age did you start working?
I had a paper route when I was like 14, but it was like I was filling in for somebody who was, I don't know, busy, I guess, and couldn't do their paper route. But after that, I did that for like a couple of months, and then I started working right as soon as I could. When I was 16, I started working. I worked at Subway.
At Subway making sandwiches.
I was a sandwich artist.
Please tell me that is something you made up. And
Nope.
It's not.
No, I wish it was. No, they made you take a test.
To be a sandwich artist? Like,
Yeah.
Is that their title?
Sandwich artist, yeah. Yeah, when you're an entry-level employee at a Subway, you're a sandwich artist.
Sandwich artist?
Yeah, artist of sandwiches. Sandwich eye, if you will. I did go on to be the store manager for a ridiculously small amount of money, at which point I was like, yeah, about that management position with all the stress, the hiring and firing, the inventorying, toodles. I'm going to go work at a warehouse instead and make roughly the same amount of money and have health care.
Yeah. Pick a box.
At like 20. Yeah, it was just like, whatever, man. I'll pick up a box of frozen beef ribs. I don't give a shit that it's 170 pounds. I was 270 pounds. He's stopping me from lifting up a fucking box of meat.
170 pounds is right about at that range that a guy our size can pick up without. You're struggling. I mean, you're working muscles.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You're not dying at 170 pounds.
I would have to work for it, but I will break 175 pounds in half.
Yeah. We're of equal build.
Yeah, we are roughly the same size kind of person.
So, young guy, you're thrust into a situation where you're working for yourself, you're living for yourself. What kind of life are you living? Are you living the life of the rogue bachelor? You living the life of the poor student, the starving artist? What life are you living at that point? You're a young man. You're working, but you're still going to school. What kind of life are you living at that point?
I was a student for most of that time, especially considering that I was just still in high school when we moved there, and I was still working for Subway while I was in high school.
I kind of figured that's why I asked you your first job. Guys who work at 14 start working at 14, 13.
Yeah.
They tend to have.
I definitely did not have like a farm job at 13, 14. I was not working.
Yeah, no, but you have a tendency at 14, 13. Are you the kind of person who starts working at that age? You're the kind of person who continues to work that I have found.
I was the kind of person that started at 16 and continued to work from there.
Oh, you kind of like, at 14, you kind of took the taper out, and then there was a little.
Well, there wasn't really anything for me, like. I wasn't a farmer, and I wasn't, like, there were sure farms around,
food.
But...
Just personal experience. At 14, you're allowed to fry food. And I just spent 3 years frying food, making that living. I prove it to you. There's scars on my arms from it.
I don't know that that's necessarily proof I've been in Chinese food kitchens.
Well, I worked at Arby's and McDonald's as the fry boys.
At 14?
14, 15, and 16.
I feel certain that I started working at 16 at Subway because I was able to get a worker's permit. But there's a couple years difference.
Worker's permit you can get at 14. It's a green one.
There's a couple years difference between you and I.
Oh, that's also true.
I started working in food service as soon as I could start working properly in food service. I remember the day I started that job, the day before we had all gone camping on Black Creek and we had canoed out there, and what a long-ass story that was.
You started it. Go with it.
No, I'm not gonna. I can't even remember the details properly. We camped out. It was fun. And then the next day I started my first day of work, and I've been working almost nonstop since then, aside from vacations and a short stint on unemployment after the dealership that I was working at went under. Complete surprise. It sucks when a business goes out from under you. This is a terrible feeling. It's the worst feeling, actually.
Yeah, you think you're doing all right, and then the business kind of just crumbles underneath you, and suddenly it didn't matter whether you were doing all right or not. It was to the mercy of the powers that be.
Yes, I think the question was, what was I heading towards?
So you're working, you're going to school, you finally get out of high school, and now you're able to work full time or make your decisions. What do you do then?
I went to MCC and I went on it was retarded. I went to be a arts major, fine arts. Now in high school I had taken a lot of like arts electives and done well in them, better than I did in most of my other classes, but not as good as like the if I may name drop here, the Laura Petersons of my class, people who were much better at art than me, but I was still better than most of the people. Some folks are naturally gifted at everything, and there was a couple of girls in my grade that were like,
I hate those people.
They were so phenomenally good at everything.
By the way, I don't know if you've noticed this. You might have, I felt as a child, as a kid in high school, that all these people were naturally gifted at all these things. They're the football players, and the wrestlers, and the artists, and the musicians, and I felt like I fucking didn't have any of that. But I had a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
That was my talent. I can learn anything to a satisfactory level. I can perform anything that I set my mind to at least a satisfactory level. Do you feel that maybe was the position you were in? Because I heard the emotion in your voice when you mentioned the girl that was better than you.
Laura Peterson.
Yeah, that hurt.
Better than me at everything.
A good name.
Oh my God!
Too.
Yeah, I mean, it's the name of a politician. I don't know what she does now.
That's a good author name.
But
too.
like, she was a good-looking girl, and she was very good at every single. I think she actually graduated with perfect attendance.
Oh my God! What a scumbag!
She was so good at everything. And I just wanted so badly to be better than her at art, but I couldn't, and I wasn't even on her radar. Like, if she heard this radio station, she'd be like, who the fuck is Stacey Coughlin? And that's sad because there was like 38 people in my class. So, I mean,
wow.
It was like nobody.
There were 216 in my class.
I was a nobody among nobodies. But people knew who I was, and underclassmen knew in high school who I was.
Well, the underclassmen always know who you are.
And in a class of 38, honestly, everybody would recognize my face and be able to put a name to it.
I would hope so.
But this girl she was like, I wished always that I could be her in talent. I don't know what her personal life was like, have no idea. But I know that her talent so far outstriped mine in everything that I would have just killed to have that talent. But I didn't.
Well, thank you for showing your strength.
And so I went to MCC to be a fine arts major, and I'll tell you, have you ever been to MCC to be a fine arts major? You think, I'm going to go to community college. I don't have a whole bunch of money. It's going to be cool. No. They want you to buy pastels and oil paints and watercolors and fucking colored pencils and a million different drawing pencils, which I already owned. The pencils weren't the issue for me. It was all the paints and watercolors and fucking oil-based this and that, the pastels, the chalks, the fucking scratch board. A lot more interesting to me in given a little bit of age.
Yeah, age is definitely the qualifier there. I feel that as you get older, personally, that your mind opens to things that you felt like that. Psst, it's not an interest to me, or I can't learn that. That's not what I do.
I can't learn that. Had a lot to do with.
Well, that's not what I do. I don't do that. I can't learn that.
I struggled so bad with math because I just was sure that I couldn't learn it. But
that's the subject I reference in that subject.
These days,
you're good at it,
my wife is learning it currently because she's like learning to be an engineer, and she's learning the math that I was like so sure that I couldn't give a shit about. And I find that I'm so into what's going on there.
It interests you now.
It does.
That's age. It's not an inability. You weren't unable to when you were 16.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't try to get
18.
kids to go to college when they're 38.
Well, it's age. You can't experience that kind of wisdom until you've lived a certain amount of experience.
I agree with that completely.
And then you realize how interesting. Now, like we can all agree that the math you learn in high school, you don't use. I mean, you're an automotive recycler.
I'm a detailer.
I like automotive recycling.
I clean cars.
And
I do very well at it.
I'm an everything guy. If it involves building something, I can do it. If it involves fixing something, I'll figure it out. It's not an ability thing because I've always been able to do that. But like math doesn't apply to my fractions. I use a lot of fractions in my business.
This is really going to ruin things when I ask you the math question.
Were you really going to ask me a math question?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think you were.
But now I am.
I'm good at fractions, and I find past that I don't apply a lot of the high school math that I learned to my daily life. Minus, plus, subtraction, multiplication. Everybody needs to learn those.
Everybody needs to know how to make their own change.
Algebra, as much as I was good at algebra, I always liked algebra. It just made sense to me.
I always enjoyed algebra too.
I never use it.
It's just very brain stretchy. It made me feel in my head like Tetris made me feel when Tetris was new.
Yeah. Just turn it a couple of times and it'll make it fit in there.
Yeah.
It'll work. And if you're fast enough at Tetris, you can hit that right button real quick and slide it in on the bottom line.
That sounds dirty.
Ooh. To make that connection. At this point, I am out of pre-thought out questions.
Good for you.
B, have to piss, like said horse race.
Horse? We're going to a quick break.
That's exactly what we're going to join.
Thanks so much for letting Cory take us out on this break.
I love him so much it hurts. I want to thank who are we going to play in this break, which will be the Clockmen.
The Clockmen. I love those guys.
Clockmen. The band Clockmen.
You can see them.
Our friends.
Most of the time at Monty's Crown or at, what's that other bar they do on Monroe in that corner?
Bug Jar.
Bug Jar. That's it.
The Bug Jar.
You can see them most of the time at Monty's Crown or the Bug Jar. But if you can't see them there and you want to know when you can, check them out on Bandcamp. And I'm pretty sure you'll find the links that get you to the knowledge you need from there. Buy their music from there. They would like you to buy their music from there, though. If you prefer iTunes, you can pay more on iTunes also.
Thank you for listening to AirWreck Radio.
standing there, couldn't wait. Get back. The fire burning under, but it's not a wouldn't get back. With my teeth grinding down every time you're around. Get back. Left my heart is the floor, just the fucking at the door. Get back. What's this? What are we here? Looking you, never looking here. But now the big snap back. But you never gonna learn.
Welcome back to AirWreck Radio. That was the Clockmen with their song, Get Back. I love that song. I just couldn't remember what it was just now. You just heard Cory interview me. Now it's my turn. We're going to ask a bunch of hot questions right now. They're going to be sexy, terrible questions. They're going to be politically infuriating questions. They're going to be powerful questions. But most importantly, they're going to be statements that end with question marks. Cory?
Yes, sir.
I've been dying to ask you since I had this idea.
Okay.
I think that it's beyond doubt that you have the good fortune to be working with one of the most talented and good-looking people in the radiocast industry.
Absolutely.
What's that like for you?
You know?
No, I don't. That's why I asked.
It's a marvelous opportunity for me.
No, fuck that. Give me the real answer.
You know what? Fuck you. I was really expecting. Tell me about your band.
Really? You really thought I was going to go with a tell me about your band?
Yes, I did.
I'm glad that I was able to surprise you. But seriously, it's a well-known fact that I'm a megalomaniac.
True. Yes.
What is it like working with a dictator without a dictatorship?
God, is it frustrating?
I bet.
But you know what? You're a smart guy. You got a lot of good ideas, and I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm quite the megalomaniac you are, but I'm not without my own ego.
That's
so
true. I would agree to that.
I do my best to try to understand that both of us have our own egos to be inflated. That's best I can give you.
That's a good answer. That's a solid answer. Going from there, what I think it's important for our fans to know that AirWreck Radio was actually your idea. What happened there? Where did that come from?
I'm a radio nerd, and I wanted to play a radio guy.
You do an admirable job of being a radio guy from your co-host's point of view.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
I absolutely enjoy doing this show with you. How did it come to be you and Stace on this show? I think that there's a market out there that wants to know the answer to that question.
I originally had in my mind, I wanted to do a podcast, and then AirWreck Radio, the name came to my mind, and that really wrote what the show was going to be. And I casted somebody else into the second chair position, your position. What I was looking for was somebody who I could easily control, somebody who'd be willing to do the dumb things that I needed them to do for publicity. And I did a couple episodes with them that are buried and will never ever come to light because I can't find them.
I'm so frustrated by that.
I know.
Side note, I really would have liked to have heard those.
I can't find them. I thought I backed them up and I didn't.
Shit happens.
A sign, as far as I'm concerned, they're gone because they were never supposed to be.
You do shit on a computer, shit happens.
I know. I mean, they were hacky. They were hacky at best. I mean, at best, they were hack radio.
I recall that when we first started this endeavor, you were eager to do every hack radio bit.
Not every hack radio bit.
No, not all of them.
I wasn't quite ready for the wheel of meat, but
there was no talk about anal ring toss. I know,
but that's a fun game. Ring toss. You use cherries, whipped cream. It's a fun game.
It sounds like fun, but I think that it's pretty obvious that we've deviated significantly from your original plan for AirWreck Radio. How does that settle up with you?
I love it.
Do you?
I love it. I love the direction that we've taken. That was exactly what it was supposed to be. I mean, I had an idea, but it was just based on another idea. It was based on somebody else's idea, a formula that already worked. But we've taken our own little path with it. I'm much happier with my new co-host, instead of the one that I had before, because there's an intellectual property there that allows me to have a good conversation with somebody that somebody else might want to listen to, other than somebody sitting across from me going,
Is it?
Yeah, you're right, boss.
Would you say that it is at least 95% your co-host's ability to use a $10 version of Adobe Photoshop well?
Oh, it's at least 99.9.
Yeah, I thought it might be.
Of a percent.
Like your satisfaction with your current co-host might be that basis. And then like 0.001 good business planning strategy.
No, he has funny bits.
Does he? Good.
He has funny bits. That's, I gotta say, my most current co-host, that's, he said good bands and funny bits. So that's, the whole skit writing, that's on him. Both funny bits last week that were both those were both his. I was very, very, very fucking pleased with that. Very pleased with that. I personally feel that I chose well when I was looking this time around, when I was looking for somebody to accent the things that I'm not good at.
Well, you're in luck. You happen to be in the room with at least one person who agrees with you.
I'm very good at the technical things. I'm good at audio editing.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in the engineering behind things.
Where did that come from? That's a question that I have for you. How did you come to decide that like your love of talk radio was going to prompt you to spend $40 on a soundboard, which is like an $80 soundboard? So don't dismiss us, radio fans. We sound good.
For a $40 soundboard, we
sound good,
great.
Period. We sound like every other podcast sounds.
If not better, sir.
Some, yeah.
I've heard worse, audio quality wise.
I have also, since I've used Stitcher, I have heard better and I've heard worse. And we sound as good as the best.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And that's thanks to you. So how did you learn anything? Because I've been a musician for a while, but I don't know anything about soundboards. How did you learn about that?
It was a matter of passion and research. I needed a way for me to be able to do this.
Would you say that it was like, well, I guess I'm done beating off now?
Well, I've never done beating off. You're talking to the wrong guy.
No, but I mean, I got a 30-second refractory period where I can totally look up a soundboard, and you just happen to find the right ones on Craigslist.
Actually, a buddy of mine found it on Craigslist for me, knowing that I was looking for a mixer.
Oh,
and he happened to, hey, I found something on
so word
Craigslist.
of mouth nailed you the mixer that we used to make the magic.
Absolutely, that was Mr. Bill, my pirate friend.
The pirate friend,
my pirate friend
from the store.
Yes, from that store. That we're not going to give him a fucking dollar. Don't say the name.
Me. I won't do it.
Don't do it. They pay an awful lot for advertising that store. Don't say the name.
They should pay us like a McDouble.
And then I would say them. Then I would say their name an awful lot.
Maybe.
Wow, would that be a good sponsor for our show?
I would take one free internet in return for one free plug for that price.
Yeah. But until then, don't say the name. But he works for a store in the area that we both know him as the Pirate. He actually found this on me, knowing that I was looking for it. He actually has an audio background, that guy. He used to be an audio technician for bands. For musicians.
Yeah.
So he kind of knew what I was looking for.
Pirate Bill.
Yeah, Pirate Bill.
Okay.
So he kind of knew what I was looking for a startup. And he
strikes me as a roadie.
That's exactly. Yeah. He was a fucking roadie. That's exactly.
Yeah, he definitely strikes
I don't think roadies get enough credit because they're automotive. They're audio technicians.
Knows how to run a soundboard very well.
Yes.
I bet that he's really technologically knowledgeable in that. So I think it's safe to say that the format for AirWreck Radio has probably deviated from your plan.
Not too much outside of. It's not quite as.
Well, it doesn't matter. That wasn't even the question.
Well, I thought it was. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt? I'm sorry.
No, it was totally the question.
It's not. It's very much the format that I wanted, but not quite the way I envisioned it. I envisioned it more routine, a little more hacky, a little more morning radio zoo. Good morning and welcome to the radio zoo. Yeah.
I even worked on that a little bit leading up to this, and I just was like, "This is not what I'm going to do."
It doesn't work. It doesn't work out for who we are as two people. It doesn't.
No, I feel like we've done a good thing here.
I think this show definitely, and the name represents what the show is.
Yeah,
and the show is what it is, and it's not misrepresented. I'm very, I guess, to finally come around to answering your question from like 3.5 minutes ago. I'm very pleased with the direction that AirWreck Radio has taken.
Good, because you put it together and make it what people hear. So it's if you don't agree with the direction, that'd be retarded.
Yet I still do it. Why would I do that?
Last question. This is softballsy for you. This is just a fun question. What's been your favorite part of doing this show? And then I would like to answer that question.
Okay, that's cool. That's a tough question. Been a lot of cool things about doing this show. Impromptu interviews in the woods with the band of brothers.
That was mine.
That was
that was a big one.
Was a big one. I liked having Unconquerable Souls last week. That was fun for me.
That was fun. Yeah. That was unconventional for us. That was
that's why I liked it. Yeah. I liked doing Second Prince this weekend. That was a lot of fun. That was
super cool. It was good to be on the other side of the desk.
I also like Swag. And revolutionary theory. Yeah. Revolution theory brought me a
favorite drunken good time. Revolutionary theory
that I still use today, and it's on that beer right there.
Check them out at facebook.com/revolution theory.
And I found some good music that I would not have found without this show.
Yeah,
that I really enjoyed. Band of Brothers. A band that we use a lot, but we can't seem to get them on the show. Aside.
Yeah, Aside.
They're an original band out of Rochester, and I really like their music.
I'm glad to have been able to provide a opportunity for people to hear MC Frontalot. I hope to provide a better nerdcore.
And I want to continue to pump him until the very moment we make any money off this, and then
we got to stop or be like, come on our show, man.
Yeah. Then we'll just talk about them.
We're making money now. We'll pay you. But what's been your favorite? What's been the best? At what point were you like?
God, is that a tough question?
At what point were you like, God damn, this shit is happening?
At what point was I like, are we a radio show?
We're doing it.
This is something that is successful or will be successful. God, that's a tough question to answer because it's not a single point. It was a 3-week period.
Well, talk about it.
We hit our all-time high, and then we hit a little low. And then on the third of those broadcasts, we hit another time. Like, right below the first one, but we were right there. And it's very recent. Basically, we had a spike, and then we had a low, and then we kind of, not only did we go back to our normal balance, but we kind of did better than that.
This is the 3 shows before the last show.
Bingo.
4 shows ago.
And that really gave me the encouragement that even with what people might consider a weak show,
we still had a good show.
They still came back next week.
Yeah.
And that really right there is what told me that, and the fact that the downloads, people download the last week's episodes. That really, like, if we get a new listener this week,
thanks to Stitcher,
they go back.
I've stopped downloading, so don't lose the new episodes.
But if we get a new listener, they go back and they listen to the old episodes.
Yeah,
and that really, really does something for me. That they want more. They get done with the episode that they came to listen to, and they want more.
Yeah,
and that really told me that we're doing something successful here. We're doing something right.
Good answer. Now ask me.
What do you think, sir, is the best moment of AirWreck Radio for you? What is your favorite incidents in this little adventure that we have called podcasting?
My favorite incidents is actually like a thing that happens again and again. I clean cars for a living. People don't come to me for my opinion. My job doesn't really require a lot of brains. It just requires the amount of organization that I can put together to make a thing happen faster.
Yeah, it's about efficiency. Your job's about efficiency.
I'm very efficiency-minded when it comes to my work, but it doesn't really engage my brain at all. I've cleaned a million carpets, and I'll tell you, every automobile carpet has the same issues. I'll deal with it. It doesn't take my brain to fix. So I listen to headphones. And I used to listen to music. I love music. Don't want to take anything away from music. Listen to music. It will make your brain grow.
It'll make you feel good about yourself. It evokes emotional response. It makes emotions. It makes you feel alive.
I got into this.
Live.
And suddenly it was like, I need to become better educated so that I don't sound like an absolute fucking turkey on the radio, because I don't want to sound like an idiot. I want to, like, if I'm going to sound like an idiot, I want it to be because I am an idiot, not because I sound like an idiot. I want it to be because the people who disagree with me on such fundamental levels that they can't help but to decide that I must be stupid.
That's fine.
That's how I feel about the people that disagree with me.
That's
on
how
those
people
levels.
are.
They must be stupid if they can't agree with me on basic, fundamental things. So if people think that about me, I'm either doing it right or a fucking idiot. I don't think I'm a fucking idiot. I could be wrong. My favorite point about this.
Sorry, as your very close friend, I so really want to jam that down your throat.
People think I'm arrogant, man, and
people know you're arrogant,
people
man.
know. All right, fair enough.
The people that know you best know what that means.
What it means is that I'm confident in my ability to make mistakes. I can be wrong about a thing because anybody could be wrong about a thing. So if anybody
constantly,
obviously I could too, and it doesn't have to distract from my confidence or my arrogance, as some people would put it. I can be wrong. I can be outlandishly wrong. But doing this show, I've found that I want to be retardedly wrong less often. And it's encouraged me to research, and it's so fulfilling, this whole process. I asked you what was your favorite part. For me, it's this validation, this fact that you and I are creating this thing, and it just feels good to create things. It's what we're here to do.
Since we've started doing this podcasting, have you been listening to podcasts?
Yes.
How many would you say? Like different, outside of our own, how many would you say? 4, 5, 6?
If you would include the daytime radio, the AM radio that I was listening to.
Yes, because they podcast as well.
From the time I started this till the time that I got Stitcher and really started enjoying what podcasting was about, it's got to be 50 different shows that I've exposed myself to, and it's so.
I now change my mind. This moment right here is my favorite time in podcasting.
Oh.
You moving on to podcast, you enjoying podcast, me turning you on to podcasting, which, as I've described to older members of our listening audience, as the new public radio.
It is. It is more than public radio, actually. It's more far-reaching. You just got to find the show you like and like it.
And it's very tailor-made to people's individual likes.
Yeah.
That's why niching is fine. But I, having turned you on to what I feel is the new age of radio, being a radio nerd, that is my favorite thing about doing the show.
I'm
Hands
definitely
down,
onto it.
Turning one person, and if I could turn one person into 2 people, that would make me even more ecstatic to turn on to podcasting, the modern day radio. That really fulfills me in a very deep way.
I'll tell you right now. I cannot get over how much I really enjoy doing this show, how much I enjoy doing the Facebook, doing the emails, doing the send me your address.
In something, isn't
and
it?
it's fun. It's such a good feeling. I love getting to send people flowers. Makes me so excited that
And it feels like your
I have to
baby.
go and waste an afternoon picking flowers in a field so that I can mail them to people because they gave a shit enough to email the show. Do that. Do that because I don't get to do it enough. And come wintertime,
Master artist of radio with that segue there.
Come wintertime, it's not going to be as fun for me to go and buy hot chocolate to send you. It's just not going to be. I got to go to Wegmans and the hassle, the lines. Ugh.
But
for now,
send you hot chocolate.
We will. I will. That's the gig for the winter. When the flowers are all dead.
Brought it up.
No, that's the gimmick for the winter. Spoiler alert. This winter, if you email us your address, I don't care if I've already sent you flowers or hot chocolate. I will send you hot chocolate. If you want flowers right now, send me your address one more goddamn time. I will send you flowers. Send it 2 more goddamn times. I'll send you flowers. Like my Justin Bieber bullshit 100 times.
I love this
and
guy
I
so
swear
much.
to God, I will find a way to send Justin Bieber those same flowers. I swear to God I will. Check out the Twitter, AirWreckRadio, Twitter, I don't know, just fucking Twitter. Check out the Twitter, find AirWreckRadio on it, and do whatever you do on Twitter. Cory will love you for it. Check us out on Facebook. We need your likes. Better than that, we need you to encourage Facebook to add a love tab so that you can love AirWreck Radio.
Not just like it.
Because AirWreck Radio loves you. Thanks so much for joining us on this break. When we come back, we're going to close up the show with a quick point. We want to give a special shout-out to Second Prince, the podcast we were on, run by First Prince, the comic book shop that podcast is run at. Check them out at secondprince.co, issue 18, AirWrecked, if you want to hear me and Cory blow up a fucking comic book show.
You can find First Prince Comics at 1548 Buffalo Road, Gates, New York. And we totally want to thank them for being our new, what's the word I use for them? Oh yeah, plug horse. So we will plug the shit out of you. Ooh.
Thanks for joining us on AirWreck Radio.
It's all the same. There's nothing left to say. Seeing eye, like a face that bleeds. It's all I ever see. Like a story of dying dreams. You hear these cries. I see it in you, but you know it's a hell. It's waiting for you.
Nerd rap infest your internet. You left a trap, but it's empty. MC Frontalot took a gate, but the bait wasn't tempting. Ending up uncaged and at large to talk smack at you through the networking appliance that's in charge of every drip of your attention. Yo, when mine goes out, I've got to log in just to mention my disappointment at the interruption of convenience. I mean, just a lot left, but none up in between. This couple of minutes here, the couple of minutes later, it's an outrage at the price I pay. These dictators of my leisure rule with an iron fist. Has anybody ever been so put upon as this? Your GPS run out of battery. First world problem. Got to wake up Saturday. First world problem. You just delayed the honeymoon. First world problem. Pledge season's coming soon. First world problem. Half your friend list is spam accounts. First world problem. And your center channel speakers out. First world problem. Your center channel speakers out. I can hear that it's
Welcome back to AirWreck Radio. I hope that you have enjoyed our special 10th episode.
I have.
I know that I have. Cory says that he has. We
Clearly, they heard me say it.
certainly hope that everybody has enjoyed this 10th episode of AirWreck Radio. There will never be another 10th episode.
Sure will.
Until we're doing our 20th episode, in which point there will be our second 10th episode.
The people do simple math, sir.
I don't know that everybody... the thing of the matter is that I listen to this at work, but I know that people at work listen to this at work too. And they sometimes get distracted and might not be able to keep up with the fact that this is the commemorative 10th episode. Commemorative.
There you go.
Our first quarter
See, I knew you could do that
is
one.
over. Next quarter, we get to look forward to winter break.
The quarter isn't over for another 2 weeks. We don't get time off. 52 weeks, 52 episodes makes a year. The quarter isn't over for another 3 weeks.
I was referring to like your high school report card.
Oh, well, in that case, 10 weeks, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right, I'm sorry.
One quick point that I wanted to touch on tonight was...
Don't you like hearing you're right, I'm sorry? I thought you did.
I do, but I'm willing to gloss over it for an issue that I think is slightly more important and not enough people really get to know about. Immigration reform is currently bogging up the legislative branch.
You have to inform me, sir, because I haven't been making it.
I will inform you just a little bit. The Senate passed a bill for immigration reform, which would allow a path for the 11 million illegal immigrants here. It would allow them a path to citizenship. The important talking points of this path to citizenship are that they would be like last in line to get the benefits of being a citizen. It would be a couple years before they could vote. It would be 10 years, I think, before they could get Social Security. It's not like...
That's not unfair.
It's not unfair at all. These people,
10 years Social Security, you got to pay in. I get it.
All this bill is basically asking of these illegal immigrants is to just become legal immigrants.
Citizens. It's to sign the guest book.
Here's your way to do that. You're here. We're not going to try. There's no possible way we could deport 11 million.
Well, why would you want it?
Why would you even want to? It would be so expensive to do. It's not even worth thinking about. And even Republicans, House Republicans, know that that is completely absurd to think that you're going to deport these 11 million people. So the Senate passed this bill with the support of Republicans and Democrats. In the Senate, this bill was passed by the majority of everybody. There was a lot of Republicans on this.
Your elected representatives.
Your elected representatives did their job here, and they got a horse to the gate. And now it's race time, and that horse has got to get through the Congress. And the Congress Republicans have come out, and they have the majority in the Congress. They have come out and said this bill is not going to pass here. They argue that they want better border security before they offer a path to citizenship. They argue that it's not completely unreasonable. It's not unreasonable to want better border security.
My grandfather, who was a legal alien, said it. And the AirWreck Radio listeners will know that I quote my grandfather a lot. just sign the guest book on the way into the party. That's all we ask, is that we know that you were here.
I would like to point out that this is a party of 300 million people.
And we're welcome to have
11 million of
100
whom,
million.
11 million of whom are illegal immigrants.
And all I want them to do, and I don't want them to go away. I want them to be here. I just want them to sign the guest book so we know they're here.
I think the senators who signed this bill and were prepared to see it formed into law would understand that you're saying in the future, just do that. But we understand that there's 11 million motherfuckers here.
Let's not deport
who
them.
Got here.
We're
not deporting them. Deporting them is not even on the books. Nobody's even talking about that because it's idiotic.
Let's work with them to get them to sign the guest book.
Provide them with a path of citizenship.
Bingo.
Right. That's what this bill proposes as its this bill proposes this as its first order of business, followed by increased border security. Now, House Republicans, Congress Republicans, congressional Republicans have said there's no way that this bill is going to pass in the Congress because we think border security. Well, another thing that they say is that this is just a show horse that the Democrats have brought out to try to discredit us in the interim election coming up. Well, I gotta say, the show horse is the only one showing up on race day today, boys. If you had a better plan, where is it? How come the Senate was able to approve this with Republican support? But in the Congress, you want to pony out that this is just a show horse by the Democrat? Fuck you. You're making shit up. What you're doing is you're just trying to stop the current administration from having a success at anything. And we've seen this before from these people, and I have been known on this show to say that the current administration needs a little stopping up. Not on this.
Understatement of the fucking decade.
Not on this. Not on
and
this.
And that includes the Bush reign.
We require immigrants. It is required. We need them. We need skilled ones to come here. We don't just need the least of the other countries. We need the best of the other countries.
But when you get the least of the other countries, you get the best of the other countries. That has been our experience time and time again.
They come here to live the American dream.
Send us your huddled masses. And send us your huddled masses. Do that. Because in those are the best of the people that there are on this planet.
A quick side note. While you're sending us your huddled masters, also send us emails bearing your addresses. I will send you flowers.
There's no explanation for the amount that I love you for your ability to just plunge head first right into a segue.
Oh, we were talking about sending stuff. I assumed we must be talking about AirWreckRadio@gmail.com.
No, you're talking about that stone tablet at the
the thing that statue is holding.
Yeah, at the gates of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
French statue, but still, we love the words on it.
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah.
No, send us your huddled masses, because in that you will find the best of people. You will find the hardest working of people.
I'll tell you what.
The illegal immigrants who come here are not the lazy. They are not the criminals. The illegal immigrants that come here are the hardest working people on the planet, because those are the people they want to move to a better place to make a better life for the next generation. Not even themselves. People who move here don't move here on the grounds that they're going to build a better life for themselves. They're going to build a better life for the next generation. We don't get the criminals and the drug lords and the fucking... They stay where they are, where they already have power.
Where they get U.S. guns.
Via the Fast and Furious drug control.
You're welcome, Mexican drug cartels.
Oh.
I would like to go to a quick analogy that I just formed and then close things up. It's kind of like anybody can go to Jared and buy a diamond. But more people can go to Wegmans and buy a bag of coal. And if they find a diamond in that bag of coal, yippee woohoo, man. I mean,
I don't get the analogy.
I lost my place. It was a diamond in the rough thing. Hopefully, when I'm hearing this on the radio, I'll understand where I was going.
That's why we call it
AirWreck Radio.
That's what it's all about, brother.
Folks, thanks so much for joining us for AirWreck Radio. Thank you to our fans. We're going to give a quick shout out to some of our bigger fans. We're going to give a quick shout out to Casey and Angela. Of course, my wife Tammy, who provides us with most of the Simple Thoughts news stories that we use on the show.
Often delicious snacks.
Also, whenever we're recording from the Hideaway Brewing studio,
Performance Studios,
we are also provided with tasty snacks by my wife Tammy. So thank you to Tammy. Thank you for Casey and Angela, who provide us a ton of Facebook support. Thanks to First Prince Comics, located at 1548 Buffalo Road in Gates. Thanks to all of our guests so far, which include Flipside, Revolution Theory, author Daniel Beers, the Band of Brothers, Trevor Years of Years Motorsports, the Clockmen, Unconquerable Souls Tattoo, and of course, without whom none of this would be possible, us. Your favorite guests on your favorite AirWreck Radio show.
Your two favorite broadcasters.
Check us out next week. We're going to have a special space show that I am
I'm so looking forward to.
We're going to do our normal stuff, but we're also going to do a space segment. And our guest that week, we are honored to have with us an actual astrophysicist, Tom Allen.
Oh my God, my geeks and
It's
all my
so
friends
exciting.
know. All my friends who are listening to this know right now by listening to this how geeked I am.
I have a space boner over this. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have some fun productions to go on. It's going to be a good time next week. Join us next week. This has been AirWreck Radio. Good night.
I'd like to extend a very special thanks to Kevin McLeod of Incompect.com, freesounds.org, Audacity Software, GIMP graphic editors, all our band friends, our guests tonight, my dear friend Stacey, and all you, our loyal listeners.